Welcome back to High Value Dating, a podcast where I talk about all things dating, love, and relationships. In today's episode, we are going to be talking all about what to do when the person you want doesn't want you back, and there is nothing you can do to change that. I'm actually going to play you a voice note from one of my followers who recently dealt with this. It's a form of rejection that had nothing to do with anything she could change, but rather just who she is as a person. Seasoned dater or a new dater, chances are you're going to experience this if you haven't already at some point. This is just a part of dating. So stay with me if you want to know all about what to do in this type of situation. I'm Nellie Sudri, the #1 dating coach and matchmaker for high-value singles. I use data-driven solutions to help modern, successful singles find love in today's dumpster fire dating economy. So if you're ready to meet your person and get out of the dating game for good, you're in the right place. Welcome to the High Value Dating Podcast.
Hi, Nellie. So here's my story. A little over 2 weeks ago, I decided to shoot my shot and slid into this guy's DMs. He didn't respond. Totally fine, though. And just the other day, we run into each other while grabbing lunch. And of course, I'm thinking, oh my God, it's meant to be. We proceeded to DM each other, and he responded essentially with, I don't date Persian girls, or I date white girls, or I'm attracted to white girls. He's Persian, by the way. And so when he said that, I responded in kind, like super, super sweet response to that. Fast forward another day or two. So I was shocked to learn that this man is now going and adding my friends who are white girls, beautiful white girls, and liking their stories. And by the way, she was not the only one. And I just felt disrespected, but at least have the decency to ask me or say, hey, do you mind introducing me to so-and-so? I find them attractive, instead of like being so weird about it.
Whew, wow. So obviously that is a lot to unpack. The way I kind of break up that entire voice note is a few things. So first, she dropped the handkerchief. She shot her shot, right? I always encourage women in particular to drop the handkerchief because sometimes men need that extra encouragement. But whether you're a guy or a girl, doing that, making the first move, in other words, can feel really scary because obviously the thing we all fear most is rejection, right? Not having that handkerchief picked up, not having that other person take the bait. And so in this particular situation, she did shoot her shot, but it didn't land. And that a lot of the times can make you feel really salty about ever doing that again. You're like, well, if this is my experience, why would I do this again, right? And then you kind of want to go back into your cocoon and have a mentality that, you know, someone else should be the one pursuing you, right? And that can sometimes, again, leave you in that chronic state of singlehood, because if both parties are always waiting for the other person to make the first move, whether you're a guy or a girl, then you end up constantly in this dance where no one is approaching the other person, right? I think the way she went about making the first move by sliding into his DMs was forward. It was bold. It is, in my opinion, operating from masculine energy because you are essentially in your chaser mode. Now, I don't know what that message said when she slid into his DMs. And that does matter because obviously you can send a very thirsty DM or you can say, hey, like your profile, curious about this. You know, there are a lot of different ways you can go about sliding into someone's DMs. I don't fault her for sliding into his DMs. Sometimes you slide into a guy's DMs and it does pan out, but we have to also acknowledge that that is masculine energy. In terms of her making the first move in person when she saw him at the grocery store, I think that that is amazing because in a lot of ways, if you don't capitalize on those in-person opportunities, then that can also make it hard for you to ever, again, see those opportunities pan out, right? We miss 100% of the chances we don't take. Let's quickly talk about how she went about dropping the handkerchief in person, though. She said something to the effect, I think she mentioned, it's your lucky day, or The universe was bringing us together, something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken. And to me, that's also very forward, right? There's a way to subtly drop the handkerchief and be in your feminine energy, ladies. And if a man is interested in you, he will take the bait if you make that move. So I don't know that I love that she said that. I probably would not have done that myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with approaching someone in person, making conversation, but very forward. And we know that men are hunters. We know that men are the ones who like to chase. So if a man doesn't want to be the one hunting you, then it's not because you are not enough. It's because he's not your man. That being said, she took it a step farther, dropped a third handkerchief, and followed him on Instagram. Also forward, also masculine energy, right? He knows how to find you if he wants you. I'm pretty sure he saw that DM. He chose not to respond. That's okay that she followed him on Instagram. But I only point these things out because when you are the one pursuing, right? In this case, I would say she was the one pursuing, and you're not getting a response to your pursuits, you are opening up the door even more for rejection, right? So it's one thing to send a DM. It's another to say something in person. It's another to follow someone on Instagram. Now, the way I broke that down, maybe that sounds like a lot. I don't think it is a lot, but if a man wants to be with you, he will find a way to be with you. I truly believe that. I do stand very firm in that stance. And I know that's controversial. You know, there are a lot of people who debate if he wanted to, he would. I think if a man wants you, he'll find a way to make it happen. And if he doesn't want you that bad. So the reason I acknowledge all of this is because I think in a lot of ways she was opening the floodgates to rejection because she was pursuing. Now, as mentioned at the beginning of this episode, we cannot expect opportunities to fall in our lap if we don't take advantage of the ones in front of us. So I think it's great that she made the first move. Do I love the way she went about it? I think she could have been a little more delicate and maybe a little bit less forward, but I don't hate it. And again, if that man really wanted her, he would have been receptive to it. So it doesn't really matter anyways. All that being said, his response to her was pretty transparent, right? It was, I am not interested in dating Persian women. Now, that can feel very offensive to anyone if they hear that, because we cannot change our race. We cannot change our ethnicity. We cannot change our religion unless we, opt to convert. So it's tough to hear those things. But one thing I actually will say is, how nice is it and refreshing is it to have someone be honest and transparent with you? And this is where we have to take an abundance mindset when it comes to dating and really acknowledge that the universe is always working for us, right? We could be in situations that are sometimes harder to recover from. For my personal experience, have been rejected countless times without any explanation, even after asking for one. And that is so frustrating because then you're sitting around wanting constant closure. So in a lot of senses, I think it's nice that he was transparent enough with her about his reasons for not picking up the bait. Does it make it easier to swallow the rejection?